Ladies and gentlemen, it is hard to believe, but Season 3 of View From The Rafters is coming to a close, and we thought, what better way to close it out than looking back at the best moments from the first 11 episodes of the season. And there's no other way to start that out than by looking back at last week's episode when Luke Kornet stepped in as guest host, and he delivered the goods. If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. But in the meantime, if you want to just see the top clips, here they are, and trust me, there are a lot of them.
So obviously, you know, from your time at Virginia and on, you've had the nickname as the president due to your striking resemblance to number 44, President Barack Obama. You know, your voice, your look, all that stuff. I'm sure you're familiar with this. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, also you've been pretty politically active. And I was just wondering if you might have a future campaign on your own. I actually polled teammates to see like what question they'd want me to ask you concerning your future campaign. And there's really just one thing that came around resoundingly. Like every single person on the team was primarily concerned with this. So if you could, you know, answer from your, not your delegates, but constituents, they'd appreciate that. So the one question I got from the team was unanimous. What would you do to decrease tax rates for high-income earners? There's inflation's a big problem, so you don't have any plans?
I don't have an answer.
You don't have any plans for that?
I didn't say I was ever running.
You might want to prepare yourself.
People say I should run. I've never said that. So
okay. Well, you know, I think you could do it.
I'm not obligated to answer that. So
I think you should be a little more glass half full on that one. I think you can do it.
Okay, I appreciate it.
There you go. Malcolm Brogdon running for president. How old do you have to be? 35?
20 never.
35, so you could have done it like 6 years ago?
20 never.
Is that right? Very young. The joke there is that he's old because he spent all his time in college. All right. So now it's time this is what we all came here for. And, you know, so it's been well documented for Malcolm throughout this year. He's a top candidate for a very prestigious NBA regular season award. I mean, it's no, like, people have been talking about it all year. And I bet you're wondering also, like, why we were so adamant about having you on. And, like, I know you didn't really want to do it, but it was like, no, we need to get him here. Well, I really can't believe the powers that be allowed, like, this to be the time and place for it. But it's how they decided to go. So it is without much further ado that I would like to award you, Malcolm Brogdon, with the 2022-2023 Boston Celtics Training Room Trivia Third Place Award. So here's the award. Third Place Award. We do pregame trivia every day and on the road games with 90 minutes on the clock. And Malcolm this year battled through thick and thin, no matter what happened. I say he showed up every single day, and he really gave it his best. And yeah, third place is something really to be proud of. It's signed by the leader, Paul West of the Trivia Commission, and I just wanted to award that for you. And it also comes with a little bag of Monster Trail Mix. I made a stop at Target the other day. Malcolm is a very disciplined eater, but we've shared a bond about secretly gorging on Monster Trail Mix because it feels like trail mix, which is a good snack, but frankly, it's dessert. So here's your reward.
I'm not taking the award. You cheated. You cheated
this
all.
Is blood money. If
you
cheated.
No, listen.
You don't take the award.
No, listen. You cheated all year long to get that.
It's not cheating.
To get the first, because you're first. Are you first? Are you first?
What?
Are you first?
Oh, am I? I haven't checked I just was here to present this for you.
Did you win?
I mean, I was winning for most of the year, and so unless something happened in the last game, remember I was thinking about taking it off.
I'm not taking that. Just because you make a sheet of paper with my name on it and it says third place, I'm not taking it.
That's not very gracious of you. That's a pillar.
I'm not taking it.
No, I don't think gratitude is a pillar. Well, I guess you could. Maybe I'll frame it, and then it'll be a little more sure to do it. Also, I didn't cheat, but that's neither here nor there. I played by the rules of the game. You guys did not like it, but the results speak for themselves. So, yeah, that's about it. A lot of fun we had here. Malcolm Brogdon, I got to say, it's a pleasure having you on. You're the very first guest. A day that will forever go down in infamy? Well, that's probably not it. That's probably not how I want to land in with that. That's not great. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And I'm sorry that you didn't want to accept your prestigious award. But we'll hang on to it for you.
The interview, this was solid until you brought that out.
Oh, what are you talking about? You did really good. Third is really good. And there's like 5 competitors. Right. So third of 5 is like middle of the pack. I think third of 5, if you had a full team for 5 people, I think there'd be 2 starters. So technically, you'd be the 6th man of the trivia. Thanks, Malcolm. It's a pleasure to have you on. Love you. Sam Hauser. So this is your first real like full season in the NBA. Last year, spending time in Maine and stuff. And believe it or not, Samuel Hauser, Samuel David, ours truly right here, he led the NBA in defensive rating. And also at a point near the very end of the season, he was leading the league in percentage of defensive possessions that he was isolated against, meaning teams keep trying to get him in the action, although you lead the NBA in defensive rating. And so I'm just wondering, is there any possible reason why you think teams would continue to do this?
Well,
despite the evidence that states otherwise.
Yeah, you know, I think it might just be my experience in the league, you know.
Your experience in the league, that you're kind of younger?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
That might be it?
Yeah.
That's what you think it is? I have no idea what you're talking about there. All right, yep. So, yeah, we can keep. It doesn't really matter. You can have some if you want. Feel free to help yourself.
Breaking the cheddar.
Oh, love a good cheddar.
Oh.
I know it's not like Wisconsin cheese, but I did my best than I could. It was after bedtime. And
Target brand's good.
Had to make something happen. All right. So we got a new little segment here. If there's one thing that people in this team and organization know Samuel for, what is it that they always say about you, Sam? They always say this about you. They say that Samuel Hauser,
it's from Wisconsin.
Nope, that wasn't it. It's just that, that's Samuel Hauser. He's the Frank Caliendo of the NBA. Because he's got elite impressions. So we're gonna do a couple of impressions here. Here, I'm gonna hand you the line.
Okay.
First, I'm gonna introduce the character, and then I'm gonna hand him the line.
Please do.
So this would be Ryan Gosling's dad from the 2000 blockbuster film Remember the Titans, after his son is subbed out. So wait, once again, this would be Ryan Gosling's dad from the 2000 blockbuster Remember the Titans, after his son was subbed out.
Yep.
Okay, here's the line.
Yost!
Yep, that's it. All right, that's the first one. Second one, we'll see if you're willing. It's one of 2 people. It's either our Australian performance coach Jayson or physical therapist Steve Mao.
Ooh.
I've got a line for you if you
sure.
If you want to give that one a shot.
I would love to.
This is I might give it a shot after you as well.
Oi, methinks you should put some ice on that. You should. There you go.
I feel like you need to lean into it a little bit more.
I think you need to give
usually when they talk, this is how that's.
Yeah,
because fun fact about Australia is it's basically like Cockney English, and at least in my mind, I'm just taking this from was it Kingsman?
Kingsman.
That's where I'm stealing this from. And Peaky Blinders is apparently a show, but I don't really know because I think it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, you should lean into
a little more subtle. So I'm like, oi, methinks you should put some ice on that. You should.
It's so aggressive. It's so aggressive.
All right. Oh, here we go. Last one of the impressions. I'm getting warm. All right. Sam, if you just read the below sentence. This one was actually at the request of a certain teammate who will remain nameless.
Fair.
Yeah, not even a character. We just want you to read that sentence.
All right, the talent. I hate you for this, Luke. The talented baggage man balanced and flagged my Jaguar bag.
Wow. Can I give another shot at it?
You want me to do it again?
Yeah, I feel like
the talented baggage man balanced and flagged my Jaguar bag.
That was pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bring out the Midwest.
Yeah, the talented baggage man balanced and flagged my Jaguar bag. something like that.
Sounds
Yeah.
about
All
right.
Yeah, I guess that one wasn't even an impression. That was just asking you
It's
to
just
read a
me.
sentence.
It's
Yeah,
just
that was-
me to sound like me.
just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but our Samuel is actually, it sounds very condescending to say it that way. He's recently engaged, and he's planning on getting married this summer. Congratulations, Sam.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. No, thanks, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. So I'd like to dedicate this last segment to the absolute best part of being engaged. And so this segment, I'm just going to, welcome to Unsolicited Marriage Advice with Luke Kornet. This is all you're going to get for the next 5 months.
Can't
All
wait.
right, here we go. So this is the first one. I want to hear what you think about these. So this is some good advice for you. Marriage isn't a contest, so never keep score. Said the loser. Am I right?
I can take that with
Yeah,
me.
I won't say the score.
I can take that with me.
I won't say the score of my own, but let's just say it looks like me and you are playing the whole fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying?
You're darn right about that.
Yeah, okay. All right. This is just my turn to say jokes, so I'm not even sure why you're here.
I'm just laughing. Let's hear a laugh.
A good marriage is one where each partner secretly suspects they got the better deal. Well, I only had to pay my father-in-law 2 goats for my wife, so I'd say I got a steal.
Do you tell that to your father-in-law?
No,
your
that's
wife,
like
or
so. It
your
used to be a
wife.
thing of dowries, and yeah. Hopefully, he doesn't say this.
I'm sending it to him.
Eli Lilly, coaching at Butler, coaching for Boston, now president. Why do you find it so hard to hold on to a job?
Yeah. No, that's one of the challenges. Is I think people get sick of me
Yep.
after a certain amount of time.
Tell you what.
So
I'm sorry.
the clock is ticking again, and so I'm just always on my toes. What's the secret to running a successful NBA franchise? The answer might surprise you. Next on View from the Rafters.
Can I take a guess
I
at it?
don't know. I'm
Can I take
only
a
in my
guess at it?
second year. You should ask Zarin.
My guess at it was have had Danny Ainge draft franchise-altering talent.
No question.
So that's how we ended the season with Luke Kornet. Back in February, we opened the season with a live recording at Encore Boston Harbor with 6-time All-Star Blake Griffin. And during that conversation, Blake pretty much broke the internet by revealing to everyone that the Bus One Boys are a group within the Celtics. That's the group that rides the first bus over to games. And the content that came out of that, I mean, everyone was loving it. It carried on the entire season. Here is Blake breaking the news of the Bus One Boys.
How close have you gotten with that bench crew? I mean, you guys always walk into the arena together, especially if you're on the phone. Peyton and Luke and Sam Hauser.
Yeah, we call ourselves.
Luke, your best friend in the world.
Hey, Luke is awesome, man.
But I don't know if everyone hasn't watched, you guys on the bench next to each other it might be the best part of every night.
It's he's so funny, man, and playing unbelievably well. That's another guy. The way he's playing now, I mean, it seems like he could go to a team and start. If not start, he could play a lot of minutes. Luke is great. We call ourselves the Bus One Boys because we always take the first. We always take the first bus. There's 3 buses to the arena on away games. We always take the first bus, and the energy's pretty electric back there. I don't know. Are you on the first bus?
I'm on the second bus.
Well, you're missing out.
I'm not allowed on the first bus. Probably because of that.
Can we launch another podcast of you guys going
Bus crew?
on Bus One to the game every night?
We'll bring a microphone and just let you guys hear what we talk about.
Listen, if I know Luke Kornet and Blake Griffin, that would be
Yeah,
gold.
it's we made a like a logo.
Did you really?
We might be selling some merch soon.
Well, how early do you guys get there?
For a 7:30 game, the first bus is depending on how far we are from the arena,
Right.
3:45, 4 o'clock, or something like that.
Because, I mean, in your heyday, right, you had a 3-hour routine that was,
I've
you
always
still
taken
do
that
that?
bus, yeah, because my routine hasn't changed,
at all.
so I've always been on that bus. But now it's just the group of guys on this bus are just great. I mean, and everybody else too, but it's I almost look for. We played in LA, sometimes when you play where you reside, guys will let you stay at home. I think Malcolm when we were in Atlanta and like guys like that. I stayed at home and I drove to the hotel
just to take the bus.
Because I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss anything.
That I've never seen.
You miss a bus, you're down on inside. Just
so Luke really is your best friend.
Yeah, they all are. Man.
Who else is on that bus? Just so that we.
Sam Hauser, Peyton, Luke, Justin Jackson, myself.
That's the crew.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
How you mentioned the locker room dynamics and that this group is a little different. How different are they? Because you have been in a lot of locker rooms between that group and then also with Jayson and Jalen, and then you have Grant, who is always talking.
Yeah.
He's talking right now somewhere.
Yeah. And Marcus,
guaranteed.
Right? There are some big personalities in that group.
Sure. Yeah, you don't always know what the intricacies of a team are like until you really get to the team. You see, you some guys are very reserved. They don't talk as much to anybody. Some guys, have their 2-3 guys they're close with and don't talk as much to other guys. And I know it's probably shocking. It's a group of 12 to 15 guys. You'd think everybody is always getting along, but this group it's like unbelievable. Everybody will talk to everybody, and everybody has a thing with everybody. We'll sit on the plane sometimes, and just somebody will bring up like a NBA debate, and it'll just be like guys yelling like they're.
Can you reveal one?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is like this player versus this player, like back in the day.
Okay.
So you'll take it could go down to names you might not even have heard. And we'll debate that. We'll debate best cities to travel to, whatever it is. Like those are some examples.
Cleveland.
I love Cleveland.
You do not.
I mean, listen, no, it's not great, but I'm also from Oklahoma City, so everybody's like top 5 worst. Oklahoma City. All right, guys, relax.
You're like, bro,
like the people are really not.
Let me take you to Bricktown and show you what it's all about.
We'll go walk the Riverwalk. 0.3 miles.
All right, we also got Danilo Gallinari back at the beginning of this podcast season, and we talked to him about a lot. That was a very wide-ranging conversation about his career, his time in Boston, and his rehab. But one moment stood out above the rest. It was when he told the story of his first interaction in a preseason NBA game with Kevin Garnett. It was intense. He remembered it very vividly, and this is him telling that story and really what he learned from that moment facing off against Kevin Garnett.
You come in, Dillo, as a rookie in 08. The Celtics had just won the championship. This is what I want to get to about sort of a changing mindset about younger players. I've been working with Cedric Maxwell. We've been doing the games together forever and ever. Talk about being older than you think you are. In the preseason, you played against the Celtics, as this is going to be one of your first games ever. And we both commented as it's happening, here's a 20-year-old kid. And there was a sense, all the players we've already talked about, a high skill level. And your skill level, we knew what it was. But there was almost an attitude of not getting pushed around. And that team, Kevin Garnett and those guys, they love to talk and they love to push kids around.
That was what they did.
And what I remember more than anything, and Max and I still talk about it to this day, whenever your name comes up, was you walked in there as a 20-year-old kid and you pushed right back. Do you remember playing against that Celtics team and some of the veterans that like to intimidate when you first came?
I remember a couple of moments with KG.
Yep.
But
can we talk about them?
Yeah, language wise.
I remember one we
G-rated.
We played.
You learned some new words.
We played. I remember we played at home in New York against the Celtics, and they called a foul or something. We walking back. We are at half court, me and KG threw an elbow on me, and I just threw an elbow back, and I told him, "You're doing it to the wrong guy." And from that moment, I'm honest. I had always played against each other. He's a great player. I always liked him. And from that moment, honestly, with KG, even if we played against each other, it was always great between me and him.
It was like you earned the respect because you pushed back.
I think maybe we can ask him now, but I think that I earned his respect. And every time we played against each other, even if, after he went away from the Celtics, Minnesota and stuff, it was always great to play against him, and I honestly could feel that he respected me, and it was, of course, a mutual respect. Of course, he's one of the best. So, but that's something that I always had in my nature. I It was since I was a little kid. And so, because I was always playing against people that were older than me. When I signed my first contract, I was 16. I was playing with 35 years old guys.
That's crazy.
And so they wanted, they were like, this 16-year-old kid coming to play with us and playing more than me. No, it's not gonna happen. So
you had to push back.
You get hit big time, badly, on and off the court. But it was a great challenge for me, and I honestly liked it. Sometimes you have to learn how to like it. Sometimes you like it because it's in your nature. And so I thought it was, just going to the NBA is no difference. So, and, thinking about 08, what made my path even harder was the injury.
Yeah.
Because you get drafted by the Knicks, number 6. You get booed like crazy.
Yep.
You have to
everyone.
Happened to Porzingis later. Yeah.
You have to establish yourself in the league, and you are drafted by the Knicks, and you get injured right away. You only play 28 games the first season. It's tough. Then you got to come back the second season, and now prove yourself. And I had a very good second season, and I was able to turn those boos into applauses, but my path was even harder because of the early injury that I had and surgery that I had my rookie season.
Now, we thought you all might be interested in what it's like to be an NBA scout. It's a crazy life, and we were right. This is one of our most popular episodes of the season. We brought on Austin Ainge and Ashley Battle. They talked about all of their experiences on the road, and Austin opened up the episode by telling a wild story from one of his experiences out in Europe. You need to hear it, and here it is right now. Austin, I know you've been doing this forever. 1 million miles logged on flights, probably stayed in thousands of hotel rooms at this point. Let's just jump right in. What's the craziest story that you can tell us from your travel adventures over the years?
I've got a number. Europe is usually where the real fun happens. Mario Hezonja, I was here scouting him when he was playing for Barcelona, and I went to watch a game in Athens, Greece of his, and Barcelona was up early, and someone called in a bomb threat, and I didn't know what was going on there, speaking Greek over the loudspeakers and everything, and
it's all Greek to you.
I grabbed an agent. It's like, hey, what is going on? He goes, oh, don't worry. This happens if the gamblers are down and they're worried. They stop the momentum, and so they evacuated us all.
We're heading in the NBA. Oh God!
They pull us all out for 40 minutes. Let the bomb sniffing dogs do a loop, and then they bring us all back in. But they don't check tickets on the way back in, so it's just like a mass hysteria running around. But that's the fun.
Did the momentum stop?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Panathinaikos made a little bit. Yeah.
Did they wind up flipping and the other team won?
I don't even.
They at least covered.
I don't even remember.
Did you make a note of how Mario responded to the adversity of a bomb threat being called in?
It was really just kind of boring, but it was scary for a minute until everyone, I looking around, everyone just thought it was routine. This is just what we do.
No worries.
Everyday thing. So, for the people who don't know, before I met you guys, before I worked in this industry, I probably would have envisioned the scout is on the road, sitting in, down by the court, having their own section, nice layout. A lot of times you're just in the crowd, right? So in that scenario, is that what the experience was? Were you just sitting in a normal seat?
Ashley can talk about this too, but it's totally random how different venues, college, G League, NBA, Europe, all these different leagues and teams treat visiting scouts, right? Sometimes you sit on the front row and they treat you like a VIP, and
no front row anymore. Don't worry.
Yeah. Sometimes you're on the upper deck. I remember one time I was going to scout Marcus Smart at Oklahoma State, and all the scouts, they gave us a seat on the upper deck. I'm like, I can't see. I need to watch this guy. We have a big eye.
Yeah.
I need to see. I snuck down in the student section, and I was jumping with the fans. I stood up the whole way just so I could get a better.
How old were you at that time? Did you fit in?
How long has Smart been with us?
8 years ago?
8 years, so it's probably 9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, early 30s for you. You could have fit in.
Whatever.
You're just getting your master's.
Whatever it takes. I've jumped fences in Italy to get in games, whatever it takes. Sometimes the credential's not there. You got to see the game.
Have you ever called in a bomb threat if you were late?
Tried to stop momentum a few times.
File that away for really desperate measures.
Ashley, what's the one that you've got in the chamber for us here?
Craziest stories. I mean, I haven't been doing this as long as Austin, so I haven't had any bomb threats yet, but
You're mostly domestic too,
yes,
right?
I'm mostly domestic. So mine has just been flight coordination and trying to get to a place on time versus not making it at all. Earlier last year, Christmas time, there was that huge snowstorm that was taking over the Midwest. I was in Vegas at G League Showcase trying to get back to the East Coast, and I called to change my flight, and they were like, "Oh, did you call to change because of the weather?" I'm like, "What weather?" Because you have no clue what's going on really on the outside. You're just like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
the weather.
Because you're dialed in.
Because you're dialed into what you're doing, and I'm like, "Wait, there's a snowstorm." I'm like, "When is this supposed to hit?" So now I'm like trying to be a meteorologist and try to figure out okay, if I leave at this time, I could get to Pittsburgh at this time and I'll miss all the weather. So long story short, I went to change my flight. They changed it for the wrong day. So it's the day of the flight that I think I'm leaving on, and I'm figuring out can you change my flight back to change it to this date? You changed it to the wrong date. The lady's yelling at me. I'm like, actually, I'm pretty calm right now. I understand. We just did some improv. So I'm like, yes, and. So I'm like, yes, I understand your frustration. However, I'd really like for you to change my flight. That would be really
Did she change it?
She did, and I made it home in time.
Next, we are turning it back to the 2018 playoff series between the Celtics and the Sixers, and in particular, the emergence of then rookie 19-year-old Jayson Tatum. Here is what Brad Stevens, Al Horford, and Doris Burke saw out of him during that series, and let me give you a clue. It was something special.
Played 40 minutes tonight. Shot clock at 8. Tatum against Embiid. Tatum got Embiid off his feet. Great finish at the rim. Two-point game again.
How about that play from the rookie?
This was the moment where my eyes bulged and I said, okay, all right. The Celtics don't just have a really good rookie. They have a player who could potentially be an all-time great.
I just think I don't know if it's ironic or whatever it is, because Joel Embiid wasn't a dominant player in 2018. He wasn't dominant yet. And when we talked at the start of the podcast about rivalries and what makes them great, it's something we don't get as much in professional sports, which is the same player staying with the same team for many years over and over again. And that adds to rivalries. And you're reading this list of Havlicek and Dr. J and Larry, because those guys stayed with the team for 8, 9, 10 years. And of course, but Evan didn't. This is my point, which one of these doesn't belong here. For that reason, of course, Evan Turner should have been a 20-year Sixer. We all know that, but it didn't happen. So point being, here it is. We're sitting here looking back with nostalgia to a game 5 years ago. And we can talk about a game a couple of weeks ago where Tatum and Embiid are now going head-to-head, and the layups that Tatum has gotten against Embiid over the years with different moves, and everything, was sort of born, as you said, of this moment.
And it's not just us who thought that. Everyone else did. Yeah. So let's hear what they had to say about Jayson Tatum and really what most people see as his coming out party. This is when he established himself as, I'm a player everyone needs to pay attention to.
This action stabilized me in that game. It felt like, okay, we need a good shot. Tatum will figure it out with a simple step in this. And that's when I knew that he was at a different level than even a couple months before. Then the next game, he reads a cut and he back cuts for the game winner, right? So, I forget if it was Smart that hit him or he hit Smart.
Yep. I can't.
So one of them read the cut and the other cut, and it was just like it was a 27-year-old veteran read, not a 19-year-old read. But this action, which there were several versions of this in this game, and he read it several different ways, was just designed to give him a step and a read, and he just made the right play over and over.
You're giving me chills because he could pull it off. And Joel Embiid has been one of the elite defenders. Not only is he elite, he's got dancer's feet at 7 foot, 250 plus pounds. He can turn left and right. He can navigate east and west. And I go back to what I said about the demeanor. So Jayson hits him with a move. You've got to get by and not to be sped up, not to have your mind ahead of where you want. So to dead stop in the restricted area. with that guy in front of you, and to have the presence of mind to keep your pivot down and then send the up fake that gets that defender committed and then finish the play at that age, I mean, I couldn't believe he pulled it off. I was like, the fearlessness to attack in the moment and then again to be able to execute the move. I mean, shoot, pretty incredible stuff.
I was just impressed with his poise. I remember just kind of looking over my shoulder and being like, okay, like we got something here, because it was timely plays. It was, reading the defense, making the simple play, making the right play, but also not afraid at all of the moment. I feel like he almost he wanted to be in those positions to make those plays, make those decisions, and down the stretch, he was huge for us. But yeah, I feel like that Philly series, was kind of in my eyes, it was kind of like a coming out party for him.
So greatness takes what? An insatiable appetite to attack your weaknesses, and we have seen that from the outset of Jayson's career. Jayson has identified, I made that mistake once in a critical moment. I'm not going to repeat that mistake. I don't finish going left. I don't finish well enough in the restricted area. I'm going to fix that. It takes humility and it takes work habits, and he's got both. That's how you become great.
Next up, we talked to Rob Williams about what it's like to be a father in the NBA while these players are navigating a crazy schedule on a daily basis. As he said, it's difficult, but he always finds a way because he loves his kids so much. This was a very heartwarming episode, and this is one of the top moments from that conversation. You talked about learning how to juggle the league life and parenthood. That's something that I want to concentrate on here, because I don't think everyone out there really can understand until you're on that plane
it's a
and
lifestyle.
flying in and out and getting
different.
Home at midnight after a home game. Like there's only so many hours in a day.
Facts.
So, I mean, I have a dog, and I feel like I have barely time to take the dog outside. So I can only imagine an actual human being that's depending on me.
Facts.
How have you tried to carve the right amount of time out, and what is the right amount of time that you have found in your personal life?
So, obviously, any off day or any day, just a practice day. But I try to
which there aren't many. Just to be clear, I just want to throw that out there.
That's true.
Games and travel.
On a game, like regular day, we hear shoot around. We have shoot around, say 10 in the morning. My son will get up around 7. I'll sit with him when he gets up, just because I know I'll have to leave in like an hour for shoot around. Spend that time with him. When I get back, maybe spend like 2-3 hours with him, take a pregame nap. Most of the times, if he doesn't go to the game, he's down by the time I get it out or get home. Or even when he does go to the game, when we pull up in the house and I'm like, hey, Hendrix, you ready to get out the car? Turn around. He knocked out. So like you said, any rare off day or any time that we have, I try to just take him to do something. The aquarium, little jungle gym, take our dog to the park, anything. You just got to. It's so hard to plan. It's like you don't know until the day before. Like we don't know our schedules until the day before. They say we don't have something, then we got a mandatory film, and it throws off, the whole day. So you got to just work around it.
Do you really wake up at 7 with him when you can?
Yeah. I wake up
That's
at
impressive.
Like 7 every morning.
Even when we get back from a road trip at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
I
wake up pretty early.
No.
You're a wild man.
I'm laying in bed with the kids yelling at me like, 5 more minutes.
Yeah, well, I kind of
leave me alone.
I hate the fact that I'm a light sleeper, because I'm always the first to hear him cry in the morning, and I try to
block it out.
Yeah, I try to just close my eyes a little harder. I'm like, maybe Asia here, but nah.
I put a pillow over my head.
Try to hide?
From the reality that's coming.
I spoke to Al about the same topic, and we're going to hear from him later in the episode, but he talked about you and Jayson, and first and foremost that he didn't have his first child until he was 7 years in the league. So very different scenario from you guys, and he just couldn't conceptualize how you guys were able to juggle the two things. That's one thing he said. But the other thing that really stood out to me is that he can just, when you guys are around your kids, he can see like the pure joy in your eyes. Yeah. How would you describe?
You can see it now.
Yeah, how it makes you feel to be around your kids and to be a proud parent. What is that emotion?
It's actually funny because when he goes to sleep at nighttime, like I'll be on my phone and I was just with him 3 hours ago before he went to sleep, and I see a picture of something. I'm like, man, I can't wait till he wakes up so I can hug him. But that joy, man, is just seeing. I think it's two things for me. It's seeing myself in him, and it's seeing him learn to do things on his own. I think that's the most proud he makes me as his dad. It's funny, I'm actually smiling about it hard. But
you're proud, man. You can tell.
Even when he learned how to walk, we first tried to get him to walk, he'd take a couple steps and he would fall, and he would just crawl, the rest of the way. Yeah. But now, like, if he falls, he'd get back up, and he doesn't know little things like that. I'm smiling big as day behind him, but it's little stuff like that, man. And I think he might be saying dada, but I don't want to be the person that toot their own horn, so I'm gonna wait till it's clear.
Dada is easier to say than mama.
Facts.
For those first words.
And lastly, we're going to wrap up with a late season episode with the one and only, the captain, Paul Pierce. He joined us to talk about pretty much everything from his career here in Boston. And one of the things that really stood out was when he discussed his early years here in Boston, when he was trying to learn about what it was like to be a Celtic. And really what he pointed out that really stands out in his mind were his conversations with the one and only, the legend, the pillar of this organization, Red Auerbach.
We all know you grew up a Lakers guy. You grew up in L.A. How long did it take you to understand and integrate yourself into the culture here? Because, we can't lie. That's not going to happen overnight for anyone. You got to learn that history. You got to understand. You got to see those guys and have those conversations. So I'm just curious what that process was like for you as a young guy coming into the league.
Man, I'm not going to lie. I was on the outside looking at what Boston culture and what Boston tradition was all about, because I didn't really follow it that close as I did the Lakers.
Yeah.
But it hit right away. And when it hit, when I first got there and I had my first conversation, I was talking to Red Auerbach, one of my first weeks there. I was like, whoa, hold on. This is the dude I see on the NBA highlights, smoking a cigar, celebrating 11, 12 championships. This is really him right here. Now I'm having a conversation.
Did you smoke a cigar with him?
No, I didn't smoke a cigar.
Come on, P.
I was sitting there. This is when I first met him.
Yep.
He was having this golf charity tournament, and this was after the season or before the season, one or the other. But this is one of my, I think maybe my second year, because we had a lockout. So maybe my second year, and it was just man, there you go. I'm just sitting down really talking to him, and he sat there, and I remember we sat on the couch, and I think we might have talked for a good 30 minutes. And I was like, man, he really paying attention. He really sees something in me, and it was just from that point on, I was like, man, I got to appreciate this. I get to be around so many legends and looking up every day. It just caught on. I probably had to say my second, third year, I was head first dove in.
So it took a couple years for you to get to that point.
Yeah, definitely. A couple years of being around the legends and getting lost in the city through them rotaries. I had to. That took a while.
I do that every day.
It took a while for me to get used to that. But it was after my second or third year, I was all in. And then after my first year, I spent the whole summer in Boston. And then the next year, I spent another summer in there. So I was there just eating it all up, getting used to the city, getting out in the community. I already spent a lot of time at home my first couple years.
That was a conscious decision, or was that did the team ask you to do that?
The team asked me. I just wanted to be in the gym. That was the only place I can get the gym 24/7 and 360 every night. And so it was just me and my best friend come out look, we'll go to the gym in the morning. But I had 24-hour access to the gym, and we'll go in the gym and late at night. It'd be times where I go in there, and Rick Pitino was in there, 10 o'clock, he'll see me in there. you know, me and my boy working out.
That's awesome, man. Those are great memories. So we touched on having the legends around, but then there's also the element of you're coming onto a team early in your career when there's other guys who have already gone through it. They've already had those few seasons with the Celtics. They've already integrated themselves into the culture. So, and we're talking about guys like Kenny Anderson. Antoine had been here for a couple seasons when you came in. What's the process that you experienced as a young guy of like them showing you what it means to be a Celtic?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely watching and I'm asking questions. I'm just seeing everybody's habits. You know, when you first get there, you know, you take a look around and you see, you know, yeah, you got these other 10, 12, 13 guys on the team, but you look and you're like, man, who best fits where I'm trying to go? You know, who habits am I trying to follow? You know, on the court, off the court. And you look around and be like, all right, I'm going to get under this vet's wing because I like, you know, what he's doing. I like what he's teaching me. You know, he's really making sense, showing me the ropes. You know, so, you know, early on, it was like Twan, Dana Barros, you know, was real close. E. Williams. So I took on like 2 or 3 guys where, all right, man, Dana going to be here again. I'm going to get shots up with Dana, man. He can shoot, man. I'm going to get here early. You know, I'm going to work on some posts with Twan. He like, man, you need to get here. And I was always made an emphasis to work under them guys just to kind of see the routine and learn a routine. And once I figured out what my routine was going to be, and that took a few years, you know, because these guys are established pros. Then you look at guys like Kenny Anderson who've been in the league, you know, and you look at the guys who had that longevity too, like Dana and Kenny. Yeah, we had Twan, but he was still learning too as he was going because he was 3rd year. And so I was looking at those guys who had a little bit more time in the league and just kind of see, you know, they've been here for a little while, so I'm going to watch them a little more close and then figure it out.
So that is it for Season 3 of View From The Rafters. We are so appreciative of every single one of you who gave us a listen or a watch. We took this thing to YouTube this year. We hope you enjoyed that. So for Abby Chin, for Sean Grandy, for our producer, John Picard, thank you so much. We can't wait to see you for Season 4 next season. And in the meantime, let's go get that banner. See you later, everyone.